excellent day for an exorcism.
I see dead people.
Suffering will be legendary even in hell.
It's alive!
Fear on Film.
Hey, I'm Sean.
And I'm Joe,
Welcome to the podcast.
where we talk about fear, jump scares,
Gory kills, the brutal, the gruesome,
and the not so gruesome.
all in the disturbed and morbid love for horror.
So welcome back to Fear on Film, our monthly dive into horror. All right, Sean, so here we are again, another episode of Fear on Film.
Oh, bud, I missed you. I missed you, and I missed our horrific chats.
Oh, man. This whole month that's been going, between our recording session, I'm like, oh, I got to tell Sean. I can't tell him. I have to, it's like, no. So I really had to control myself. I mean, it was very, very difficult. I'm like, oh, Sean would love to know this. I got to save it for the pod.
I don't think the listeners appreciate how much we adhere to the rule that we do not tip each other off as to whether or not we like the film, any of the homework that we've done, anything at all. And Joe and I, we talk damn near every week, and we avoid all spoilers, so we save it for the podcast. And I have a sneaky suspicion that I know how you felt about this film, but honestly, until the words come out of your mouth, Joe, I have absolutely no idea. So, all right, look. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to ask you something out of the barrel.
Yes.
We're going to adhere to the we'll give a spoiler free in the beginning, and then we'll let the listeners know when we're going to spoil, because I got to spoils pretty quick in The Monkey. I think I'm going to beat that record first thing easily tonight, but I'll behave myself.
So, in this interim time of prepping for the episode this whole month, I got a lot of stuff I was thinking about. And you, my friend, are one of the busiest people I know on the face of the planet. You have so much going on. I mean, you got your column over at Macabre Daily, which is
Paper Cuts. Yep.
Paper Cuts. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I'm brain farting right now. But you got your Paper Cuts, you got your interviews, you got your reviews, and you got live, and you do book reviews as well. So I wanted to ask you, how long does it actually take you to read a book? Because I mean, you must fly through these things.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm not the best reader. I'm pretty good, but I'll give you an example. Like, you've got someone like Talking Scared, Neil McRobert. Now, Neil has gone on record saying that he'll read 2-3 books at a time. Neil is also an incredibly talented and intelligent man. I do not have either of those skills, so I have to keep it one and done.
Right.
So I'll pick up a book and I'll get through it at a pretty good clip. A 300, 400 page book, I'll tackle in a week. Like let's say like 5 to 7 days.
Okay.
But I always, if I'm going to interview someone and I'm going to review the book, especially if I'm going to interview someone, you want to have read the material.
Right.
So you could do right by someone who is kind enough to give you their time, who is
Right.
kind enough to send you an advanced reader copy, and is thrilled to be able to talk to someone about what they have spent months, if not years, putting together. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm a busy guy, but I'm nowhere near as busy as these incredibly talented authors and creatives that I'm lucky enough to interview, So I feel very fortunate and humbled by the experience.
No, I can only imagine. I mean, the people you interview, and so I DM'd you about a week ago when you did the interview with Chad Archibald and the cast of It Feeds, and I'm like, how can you not geek out? You're so calm, professional, so collected. I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to contain myself.
Now, Joe, I know you. You know the Muppet Show just as well as I know the Muppet Show. So you know Animal, and when Animal's on the drums going insane, that's me inside. That's that's totally me inside when I'm talking to someone like Chad Archibald, when I'm talking to someone like Clay McLeod Chapman or Meg Ripley. I had Clay and Elisa Whitney. We just did a panel video talking about made-for-TV horror movies of the 70s. And I mean, like, I pinch myself because I get to talk to these incredibly talented people that always turn out to be super freaking cool. And it's just like, what is going on? How did my life turn out like this? Then I'll go one step further. Then I meet someone like yourself, and this is where the listener is like, "Oh, here they go again. Friggin' love fest, these two. Why don't you two get a room?" Hey, I get it. I get it, listeners. We're madly in love with each other on a creative level. But, I get to meet someone like you, and then we do something like this, and it comes full circle. From when I was a 5-year-old kid, laying on my parents' bed, watching, black and white horror movies and getting the pajamas scared off me, to 2025, and I get to hook up with someone as cool as you. And when we talk about, I'm going to spoil it, Joe, one of the best movies that I've seen in the last 20 years. I couldn't hold it in any longer.
Gee, Sean, why don't you tell me what you thought of the film?
Oh, I mean, look, dude, this was a transcendental experience for
Right.
me on so many levels, but we'll get to it. We're not there yet. I
Okay.
just got a little excited, as I'm
All right.
prone to.
All right. Sounds good. You're just bursting out the seams. I mean, I can't wait to get to it as well. Now, I want to talk about also last episode. You mentioned you don't want to jinx it. How 2024 was a banger of a year for horror film, the independent scene in general.
Yep.
And you're like, I don't want to jinx it. 2025 is looking good, but you know what? It is. 2025 is turning out to be even better, in my opinion, in the field of independent horror. It's just
Couldn't agree more, buddy. Couldn't agree
yeah,
more.
yeah. I mean, everywhere I turn, I mean, I follow you on Instagram, and I go through, I follow, Macabre Daily. I read all that. I'm like, oh my god, I don't think I'm ever going to catch up with all these horror films. There's so much really delicious looking horror films out there right now.
There are so many incredibly talented people who are doing independent horror. I think what's interesting about 2025 is now we have a landmark studio film.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, and I'll explain that. So with the success of Sinners, and we'll unpack that as we get into the discussion, because Sinners is a certified hit, incredibly great reviews. I think 162 million worldwide in its 2-week release, only diminished by 6% in the second week.
I saw those numbers and I was blown away.
Explain that to the listener, though. What does a typical studio film in its second week of release, what kind of adjustments can you make downward typically for second?
Okay, so basically you have, you get your first weekend. Now, a lot of people, they'll go, wow, this first weekend, it opened at this much. That's incredible. You don't go by that. It's great. And I'm sure, studio execs are, pretty excited, but it's the second weekend that matters, because that shows if the film has legs,
Exactly.
if it carries. And so, to put into perspective, Top Gun Maverick opened its first weekend with phenomenal numbers and had only a 33% decline, which is phenomenal. Okay.
People were doing backflips over that.
Yeah. Now, so you're looking at anywhere in the 30-something decline area. It's good. Snow White, that opened with a pretty decently. Second weekend, 75% decline.
Yeah.
So there's your range right there. So for a film to open, I mean, look, the second weekend, Sinners opened at what, 44? I mean, it opened. Second weekend, it came in at 44 million.
Yeah.
That's opening weekend numbers.
Yeah.
That's insane. I couldn't believe it. So, I know you think, you've mentioned before, and I agree. Talking money is yucky. It's but when I look at box office numbers, I look at it more like the Nielsen ratings. They're numbers that indicate where the film is going, if it's popular or not, if it's going up the charts, if you will.
That's a
Um,
great way to put it, Joe. I'm gonna steal that from you. That's actually a great way to put it.
yeah, and and I don't look at it. Oh, these studio execs are filling they're lining their pockets with dollars. I don't look at it that way. And it is a good thing to follow numbers. I love to follow numbers because it kind of dictates where, I mean, the market, well, it's a market of entertainment, of film, where it's going, what people have a hunger for. So we follow that, and we see, trends, where the trend is going. And, with the numbers on Sinners, first of all, like you stated earlier, from a major studio, indicates something different. The thirst of the audience is changing, and it's pretty exciting. I mean, again, like I said before, there's tons of these movies, and it's funny because when we first started this podcast, one of my concerns was, will we have enough movies to cover?
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that any longer, my friend. Yeah, we're gonna have so many movies to cover that we could probably do this podcast daily,
Hmm.
and we'd still come up a little bit we'd still have too much on our plate.
Right, exactly. So the horror landscape is changing. I mean, it's not going to explode, I don't think, like the MCU did, but it's going to get stronger, and we're going to get a lot of good stuff in the future. I mean, look at Eli Roth. I don't know if you heard his announcement. He just started his own production company called the Horror Section, which
Yeah.
is funded by fans, and their content is dictated what they can and kind of it's themselves. They don't have studio oversight. They don't have some sort of marketing guy saying, well, we need to market towards this demographic. No, whatever the hell they want to do. And I think we have Damien Leone to thank for that, because look what he did with the Terrifier franchise
Yeah.
without an MPAA rating. So things are happening, and it's pretty exciting. It definitely is turning out to be a major, a horror renaissance with studios like, again, like Neon, Magnet, IFC, A24, who are just knocking it out of the park. Unfortunately, I have a theory.
Oh, I
I
wanna
do
hear that.
I do believe they're gonna get bought out by the big guys eventually, because they're so hot. They're so happening. They're so they know what they're doing. They're hitting all the marks, but they're gonna get bought out. I pretty much believe it. I mean, just look at historically. Back in the day, you had what? New Line,
Yeah.
Lionsgate, Dimension,
Yeah.
Miramax,
Mm.
and they're not pumping out the kind of stuff they used to. I mean, look at Miramax, Disney. Oh, wow, Miramax. This is a good. Oh, let's buy them. They get them, and they're sitting there going, "Ooh, what do we do with this? Okay, let's just sell it off and break it to pieces." So,
Yeah, they sell it for parts, exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Let's enjoy these boutique horror houses while they last. I mean, they haven't really even started yet, but, we've got James Wan and, we've got Eli Roth now.
yeah,
Let's see what happens. We've got Blumhouse, of course,
yeah.
A24, Neon, Magnet. I mean, we're gonna have enough great horror movies and a lot of creative people churning
Mhm.
out. Look, it's gonna be all over. It's gonna be all over the spectrum, like always. We're gonna get
Yeah.
some garbage we're gonna have to sift through, but we'll probably have some fun with that too, and we're gonna get some absolute bangers. But
Mhm.
when I mentioned that the release of Sinners being a major studio hit is a bit of a double-edged sword, the good part of that is that this now, it expands people's, their horizon for horror, so to speak. So we're gonna get more horror, and studios may loosen the purse strings a little bit to increase budget. Maybe. That's never a given, but there's a good chance that
Yeah.
that could happen. The bad side of that is that Sinners being a colossal hit and an incredibly well-made film on every single front now sets a bar to which all the other horror films that are gonna be released in 2025 are gonna be compared. Is that fair? It is absolutely not fair. Is it going to happen? It is absolutely going to happen. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Had Sinners been released in December, it would have been better for every horror film released in 2025 because it's like Sinners is batting cleanup and there's no space left to compare anything to, you know? So now we're going to get a lot of, well, it's good, but it's not ... Take
Right.
that with a grain of salt, everybody. It's just going to happen organically. We can't help it. It's just, it's the nature of fandom and it's the nature of viewership is that you're going to compare it to the best thing, on the block. That's okay. Look, we're
Yeah.
just happy to get the movies that are going to come down the pike, and I cannot wait. How about? Oh, Joe, sorry. I mean, I'm throwing tangents at you. We're both going to get whiplash, and this one goes out to you too, Hanson. You son of a bitch. Every time I go on a tangent, his face, his gorgeous bearded face pops up in my memory. How about Zach Kreger's Weapons? I don't know if you saw the trailer, which is borrowed a bit from Longlegs with their viral marketing because listeners, check out Zach Kreger's teaser trailer for Weapons, then go on the link that's in the trailer and go on the website. Just do a little exploring. Start getting psyched for this movie. I mean, these things are genius. I really love it when you get marketing that's interactive like this, as opposed to 15 trailers that show every single beat of the movie. Why even go? Because you know exactly who lives, who dies, who, what the third act set piece is. And it just takes all the air out of the balloon. They're doing it right. And we really have Oz Perkins, call back to last episode. We really have Oz Perkins to thank for this and the people at Neon for releasing marketing that's smart, that's secretive, that does not spoil anything. It's all vibe based and it's quality. And it's like throwing, chuck roast into the lion's pit. We can't get enough of it. I was gonna say Christians into the lion's pit.
Oh,
At the last minute, I went with chuck roast, but I don't know. Maybe I should have gone with Christians. That one's good too.
that's terrible, but funny.
It's apropos for the movie that we're going to discuss, though, right?
Right, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that, how trailers give away way too much. There is a point I want to make about when we get to Sinners, without letting you know if I liked it or didn't like it. But yeah, I definitely have something to say about that trailer. But talking about trailers, there is one final point I want to make. I'm enjoying this onslaught of diverse horror films that are coming at us, and in both senses, in both ethnically diverse and topically, topical diversity and styles. It's amazing. But there is one that came out that I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. And it was a trailer for a movie called Him. Just doesn't do it for me. It's produced by Jordan Peele. Now, I'm going to make a controversial statement here.
I saw it. I saw it. Sorry, the penny just landed. I did see it. The trailer.
Yeah. And I'm going to make a controversial statement because I know everybody loves Jordan Peele, but I'm going to say it. I don't like Jordan Peele. I think he's pretentious. He's overrated. Get Out was amazing. It was good. It had shades of Hitchcock. It had shades of Brian De Palma, commentary, social commentary, racial commentary, a great cast. It was a great film. Very well structured. It was a solid thriller. Really, really good. However, Us was kind of there. And then you got Nope, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is this? I did not like it. And I don't think he's improving as a filmmaker. Personally, I know a lot of people love his work. And then we get Him, which is produced by Mr. Peele, and it just turned me off. I mean, it looked like it was trying to go for a specific style that's popular now. This indie kind of like shock, kind of in your face horror. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'll give and I adore you and I respect you. Nope was my favorite movie. But to be fair, you're entitled to your opinion and it's a valid opinion, and I see your point because Us did not work for me. I have a hit and miss ratio with Jordan Peele. I'll give Justin Tipping, who's the director, a chance because other than the trailer, I haven't seen a single frame. So I will go see it and I'll keep an open mind, but I have a sneaky suspicion that it's gonna remind me of when Spielberg produced Poltergeist for Tobe Hooper, you know?
Oh, I see where
And
you're going. Yes.
and you see all of the Spielbergian influences on that movie, and then it curses Tobe Hooper, unfortunately, to who directed the film and I think Justin Tipping might be in for a bit of that, which I don't wish on anyone, especially because directing is super hard, you
Yeah.
know. So let's see what happens, but again, I value your opinion, my friend,
Yeah.
and I respect it. It doesn't work for you. I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you enjoyed Nope. I mean, Nope. I'm gonna give it this. The two leads, they were brother and sister. I forgot the actors' names, but they were fantastic. They did a great job. I mean, the whole cast was great. But that's a review for another time. But yeah, it didn't hit it for me.
Well, but you bring up a great point. Trailers can be they're cut to give us a taste and also influence us in a certain way. I think it's interesting because the trailer didn't work for me either.
Mhm.
And the trailer didn't work for you. Now you're bringing in some baggage there though because you're not a fan of the producer.
Right.
I just didn't I maybe it did work for me though because all it did was make me curious as to what the entire feature is going to be like
Mhm.
because the trailer didn't work for me as far as like hooking me, getting me right behind the gills and
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to do it. But, you and I, it's the best work that we will ever have, and that job is to go see these movies and to give them a fair assessment and to let
Mhm.
the readers know, what readers, sorry, Macabre Daily, to let the listeners know what we think and maybe point them in the direction of either an uncovered gem or just an absolute runaway train. So,
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't like to sit there and go, "Oh, you're gonna waste your money watching this. This is a piece of garbage. You're not gonna enjoy it." No, no, no. I don't know what you like. I like peanut butter. You hate peanut butter. I like rainy days. You like sunny days. That's just the way it is. I'm gonna give people my perspective, my point of view, but also open up and say, check it out nonetheless for yourself. And because I think it's kind of arrogant to sit there and go, "Oh, you're just going to waste your money." How do you know? I mean, like it. I mean,
yeah,
uh,
true.
yeah. And and at that, with that being said, I always give a film a fair shake. I'm going to give it all my attention and go in with an open mind and say, "Okay, what do you got for me?" And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's the least that we owe all the people that work so hard on the film, from everyone
Absolutely.
from the director down to craft services to the guy who has to pick up at 4 a.m. for the first name on the call sheet. So
Right.
yeah, the least we can do is give it our full attention and an honest, valid opinion, and that's it. And
Yeah.
then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Agreed. Now, okay, we're going to go into your homework assignment that you gave me. Now, Sean, explain to our listeners how we're changing it up a bit and we're giving it a name, your homework assignment for me. We're going to
Well,
go on with the assignment you gave me last month for The Loved Ones directed by Sean Byrne, but explain to the listeners what we're doing now.
this is actually your idea, Joe. So you get all the credit in the world for this. But Joe reached out to me. So we have the homework assignment. Our first one was Brides of Dracula. Our second one is going to be The Loved Ones, as you said, directed by the incredible Sean Byrne. This guy, he's a talent machine. Really exciting director. But Joe calls me up and he goes, "Hey, man, remember when you were talking about you wanted to do like a monthly uh, YouTube review of 70s movies?" And I'm like, "I do recall that." He said, "How would you like to turn the homework assignment into that?" And I thought it was a fantastic idea because the 70s, such an incredibly creative decade. It kind of comes in with the auteurs and it goes out with the blockbusters. and there's kind of just a little bit of everything in between. We have all these cultural touch points, little bit of satanic panic, but not in the way it was in the 80s. We had sexy Satan in the 70s, as
Mhm.
opposed to, Where Are the Children Satan in the 80s. A lot of we had the Bermuda Triangle. We had
Mhm.
disaster films. Just there's so much meat on the bone for the 70s. So we're calling it the 70s Freaktacular, and I will be giving Joe homework. I'll do the same thing. We're going to follow the same formula. I'll give Joe about 3 films. He'll see which one rings out to him, and then we'll discuss that for the homework. And I can't wait. Wait, do I tell them what
Uh,
next month is gonna be, or keep it under my hat?
Keep it on your hat, and we'll unveil it at the end of the episode.
All right. Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about that real quick. The assignment you give me, which was a film by Sean Byrne, who has a film coming up called Dangerous Animals, and it looks incredible. Basically, a serial killer who kills his victims by dipping them into the ocean full of sharks.
I mean, if
So,
that's not straight up nightmare fuel, dude.
oh yeah, and so which I'm really stoked to check out. And so Sean had me check out one of his earlier films, and it's a film called The Loved Ones, and it's kind of like 16 Candles meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's
And
actually really, really good. That's a good description, man.
yeah, it's wow. And I don't mean that I'm like it's disturbing. What did I do you remember what I DM'd you right after I saw the film?
Yeah, yeah. WTF?
And I'm like, I'm gonna need therapy. This movie's intense. Basically it's about this shy, awkward high school kid, this girl, and she has the hots for the popular guy. She asks him to the prom. He says, no, sorry, I'm going with somebody else. Later on, she finds him in the car, his car making out with his girlfriend. She gets upset and she leaves. So what does she do? She has daddy kidnap him, bring him to their house, and they're gonna have their own prom. Holy shit. They tie him up, they torture him in the most ridiculous ways. It's insane.
I
It's
mean, they
sadistic.
capital T torture this poor guy.
Oh man. But what I love what Sean Byrne did with this, and I'm not going to give it away. I highly recommend this
Yeah, let's
film.
not spoil it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you think this is the film. This is, the gist. And the Byrne leads you in a direction and you're thinking, oh, this is where it's going. And he introduces an element. You think, oh, this is what it is. It's not. And what you're exposed to, what is revealed is shocking and almost what is it, nauseating. It's insane. It's incredible. So damn good film. I'm glad kind of that you recommended this one. I mean, but it's a damn good film. It's really a good horror film.
The reason I chose it for you, Joe, is because I want to. I'm trying to get as many people to watch Sean Byrne films as possible. So you've had The Loved Ones, and you have The Devil's Candy. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to do set pieces. He knows how to build tension. He shoots crisp and clean. It's
Yes.
incredibly well constructed. He's a great writer as well. The scripts are tight. He gets great performances out of his actors.
Hmm.
And it all comes together to produce a jarringly sinister experience, but there's also an underlying current of dark humor.
Yes.
Not so much with The Devil's Candy, but with The Loved Ones for sure. There's almost that, like, hint of the absurd, like,
Yes.
just how this thing escalates, and you're like, "It can't possibly get worse," until it gets so much worse. But again, it just everything kinda comes full circle and it lands. The 3rd act works incredibly well in both films. That's why I'm so excited. When I found out about Dangerous Animals and I saw the trailer, I'm like, "You know what? That's a homework. Let me ask Joe politely if he'll check out The Loved Ones," because I know that we're gonna be talking about Dangerous Animals when it's released this summer. We're gonna do an episode on it. So we're certainly going to circle back to The Loved Ones and The Devil's Candy. So we'll talk about these films in length. Don't want to spoil anything now. All I want to do is just put Sean Byrne on everyone's radar because I'm kind of like, I'm hedging my bets a little bit that his name is going to land broader this summer after the release of Dangerous Animals. I'm hoping so, at least, because he's really a quality filmmaker. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself. Great discovery for me. And I can't wait to see what he does next. And I am going to check out Devil's Candy. That looks, it sounds demented. So
Ethan
uh,
Embry gives a great performance in that film, as does Pruitt Taylor Vince. Really, really, what he does, he gets great actors, great character actors, just solid performers, and he just gets incredible work out of them.
yeah. Now, before we continue, we're about to go to our creature presentation, but we have our first email from a listener with a question.
And I've got 2 of my own for you too, Joe, but please, you first.
Okay. All right. So this one comes from Jeffrey X from Irvine, California. So I love that name, Jeffrey X. Sounds like a serial killer.
A little scared.
Right. So Jeffrey says, I needed another podcast in my life, like I needed a hole in my head. However, Fear on Film is now added to my podcast playlist. Starting strong with episode number 1, it was super fun, and I'm looking forward to many, many more. I do have one gripe though. Once a month, hopefully soon it'll be at least bi-weekly. I'm a newer fan of horror, so glad to have you 2 teamed up to take on the genre and introduce me to new films and let me know what I may have missed. So my question is for Joe and Sean. What's a film you've seen this year that surpassed expectations and totally and unexpectedly blew you away? And how did the film end up doing that? And reversed, what film did you have really high hopes for and expectations and expected horror masterpiece and was let down?
I've
Wow.
got the first one nailed out of the gate. The second one I'll have to give a moment. I'm sure I've got that one too. Sir, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'm gonna have to gestate this question because I have an idea. You go first.
I'm going to buy a minute here. Okay, easy answer for what film impressed the hell out of me, and that would be Chad Archibald's It Feeds. Canadian production. Chad is the writer and director of films like Bite. Chad, forgive me if you're listening, and I hope you are. I always mess this one up. I want to say We Sell the Dead. That's not it. We'll Take Your Dead. God dang it. Anyway, Chad has directed The Heretics as well. Chad's directed 3 films previously and written 3 films. And he produces the hell out of a lot of genre fare. The Oak Room, Vicious Fun, which was a phenomenal movie. Vicious Fun on Shudder, by the way, listeners. Check it out. A guy unwittingly goes to a support group that turns out to be for serial killers. And it's so much fun, and it's so funny, and it just you got to check this movie out. Anyway, long story longer. Chad finally he writes and directs It Feeds, and it's almost like those previous films, as good as they were like his his training ground, and everything comes to fruition for It Feeds. Everything works. The script is tight as hell. I mean, it's like Marine Corps tight. You can bounce a quarter off that bed. It'll take your eye out. The cinematography is fantastic. The acting is fantastic. It's Ashley Greene of Twilight fame. It's her best performance to date. Then you have actors like Juno Rinaldi, who's the comic relief, plays Agatha, steals the movie in every scene that she's in. Got Ellie O'Brien, who plays Jordan, Ashley Greene's daughter, gives a performance of her career. I mean, it's just... I didn't expect much from the film. Shame on me. It's not that I thought it was going to be bad, but being a reviewer for Macabre Daily, we see a ton of movies. It's like working at Baskin Robbins. It's 31 flavors. After a while, you're just like, okay, we're scooping the ice cream. It's a process. And then something like It Feeds comes across your radar, and it recalibrates your expectations and your enthusiasm for the genre, and the fun and the pleasure you get out of watching a film and discovering a director that maybe you didn't know a whole hell of a lot about. And yeah, something like that just blows your socks right off your feet. So it would be It Feeds. Check it out. It is well worth your time.
Okay. Now the flip side of that.
The flip side to that, oh boy. The flip side to that is it's going to be a movie that I just reviewed for Macabre Daily. And I'm going to say the name, and then the listener is going to be like, what did you expect? I'll explain. It's a Lionsgate film. It's called Big Freaking Rat. It stars it stars Felissa Rhodes, who I adore and have met in person, and she's as sweet as if you fell into a vat of cotton candy. That's how sweet she is. I mean, just an absolute quality person. But this film was so bad. I had expected something along the lines of like Chud,
Okay.
or like Cocaine Bear, something fun and a little frantic and mischievous, but like is in on the joke. And this movie was not that. It all came down to just the technical skills of the cinematographer and the director were just, they need a couple of short films. Like I'm talking about like a good half dozen short films under their belt before they should be doing a feature. So again, look, never want to discourage anyone from following their passion and their dream. This did not work on any level. Go back, work on 18 minutes, crank out a couple of 18-minute short films, work on your skills, and then, and then put something together at
Okay.
74 minutes, something like that. But yeah, Big Freaking Rat. Oh boy.
Now I'm curious. Okay. Well, for me, you stole my thunder, Sean. I should have gone first. No. Yeah, for me, It Feeds. Well, what can I
Hidden
say?
gem.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it on all fronts. It's an incredibly well put together film. It's one to me, it's one of the best horror films of the year. And what starts off as your standard James Wan kind of horror film. I mean, I felt it kind of go that Blumhouse route, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
And
well said, for sure.
which usually it's kind of anticlimactic. It's like, oh well, that was the gist. Oh, okay, that was fine. This movie just explodes into it goes from like a paranormal kind of thriller, and it goes full blown horror at the end, classic 80s style horror. And it was beautifully shot. The cast, like you said, Juno, Rinaldi, she was amazing. Ash, the entire cast just brought their A game.
They crushed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so definitely one of my favorite films, horror films of the year. And just like you said, Sean, it's a hidden gem. Since I saw it, I've been talking to people at work, on the street. I've been going up to bums. I've been going up to anybody. And it's like, watch It Feeds, please. You need to
I'm
get.
so happy you say that, Joe, because films like this need that word of mouth because they only have so much for marketing. And
Yeah,
they're smaller films. They're indie films. They're true indie films, incredibly well made. It certainly doesn't look like that up on the screen. I mean, this is a insanely stylized production. It's gorgeous to look at,
yeah.
but it needs that word of mouth factor. So I'm really happy that you're saying that.
Yeah. And I mean, we will see Chad Archibald films that are just going to top this. I'm sure he's only going to get better. I don't see him, he's not a one trick pony. He's not just one of these. No, he's the real deal. And I can't wait to see what he does next.
Chad Archibald lives up to the adorable stereotype that all Canadians are the friendliest people you've ever met. Yeah, that's Chad. That is literally Chad.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the interview you did with him, and he seems like a total sweetheart, just a big teddy bear. He's a big guy too, and like he look like he can crush your skull, but he's such a sweetheart. He's such a nice guy.
I
And
like how you lean into the violence. I was like, I would like I when I was interviewing Chad, I'm like, I wonder what a hug would feel like, and I bet he smells like vanilla. And you're like, this guy can crush you like a grizzly bear.
oh man, but just good stuff. Now, on the flip side of the question from Jeffrey, the one film that I expected, and I think you might know where I'm going, Sean. It was the monkey.
Oh, no,
And
that's fair. And yeah, I mean, we unpacked it last month.
yeah, and yeah, I was expecting. Well, I went in open-minded to see what we got, and yeah, so I started like on a level 10, and I was down to like a level 4. By the end of the film. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was like, so yeah, for me, that was one of those films that kind of disappointed me personally. So
Joe, can I give Jeffrey a one bonus? Will you allow me one bonus round?
let me think about it.
I like
Of course.
I like how I didn't even wait for you to answer. I just started talking. Jeffrey, check out Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes is in the plus column. I
Yeah.
went into Hard Eyes expecting, because it's Josh Rubin, who I absolutely love. Didn't really know what to expect. That movie is so much damn fun. It is, yeah, it's just playful, incredibly well made, super funny. So Hard Eyes gets a little asterisk. It Feeds is the one that surprised me the most, but followed closely by Hard Eyes because it was just such a great time.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he created a new genre, the slasher rom-com. I loved it.
Who doesn't love that, right?
Yeah. And it's one of those pairings that you'd never thought you'd ever see. So I dug it. Yeah, absolutely. Good call. Good call on that one. Now, you mentioned that you had a couple of items yourself.
I did. So I'm not going to say any names, but heard from some of our contemporaries, and the feedback that I got from all of them was love the chemistry, love the content, love what you guys are talking about, incredibly fun. So that was that
Man.
made my day. And I'll tell you who said that off air. A number of people reached out to me, and they're just like, you guys are onto something. You guys got something here. And we don't want to be, Joe and I feel that way, but we also know that we could be blowing smoke at each other. We can't trust each other at all. But the one thing that I heard that made me laugh until I started crying was Sean. Wait, let me get the words right. Why does it sound like Sean is on the edge of orgasm every time Joe brings up a movie he watched? I listened to the episode. I listened to the monkey twice, and all I have to say to that horrible comment is it is totally fair. If you listen to the monkey every time you bring up a movie, I'm like, oh, Joe. Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe. I will say they're onto something. They're mean people, but they've made me aware of it, and I will work on it. But I'm telling you right now, no promises. Dude, if you go back to the monkey and put a supercut together of every time you mention a movie, it is going. All you have to do is add a "won't chicka won't won't" soundtrack, and we're going to get banned.
Oh gosh. Okay, things took a weird turn there. Okay.
People are jerks, Joe. That's the moral of the story. People can be jerks. But that is a valid opinion, and it is fair. It is fair as hell.
Oh my God. But you know what? It just warms my heart that we're able to, that people are saying this, that they're enjoying our podcast and what we do. I mean, what we do is straight from the heart. We love what we do, and we love horror, and we love film. And, to get that acknowledgement, and it just warms my heart. And, yeah, off the air, you got to tell me who they are, because I want to personally thank them. That's amazing. All righty. So, oh man, I'm all like sentimental now and emotional.
It's nice getting a little positive feedback, isn't it, buddy?
Oh, it's awesome. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know what? That fuels. You know what, folks? That fuels our objective and our mission. So, thanks. We really appreciate that, and thank you so much to Jeffrey X or Jeff X of Irvine, California. Amazing question. Thank you for the question.
FX,
Thank
you rock, man. And you look, you get the pole position, first question, and you knocked it. Hear that? You knocked it right out of the park, Jeffrey X.
It's gone. It's gone. Absolutely. All righty. So what do you say we go on to our creature presentation?
Love it. Before we continue, beware. There will be spoilers in the second half of this discussion. We're going to let you know just when. So if you have not seen the film, you may want to pause, watch the movie on the biggest screen, go see it in IMAX with the best audio you possibly can. And then please, the most important part is you got to return so you can listen to the rest of our conversation. If you don't want to do that, you can continue, but you enter at your own risk.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we are talking about the phenomenal new movie Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler of Fruitville Station, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Creed fame, and it stars a fantastic lineup of Michael B. Jordan, Wunmi Masaku, Miles Caton, first role playing Sammy Moore, and what an unbelievable performance we get out of Miles. Jack O'Connell, we've got Jamie Lawson, we've got Lee Jun Lee, we've got Delroy Lindo and Haley Steinfeld and Omar Benson Miller, and each and every single one of those actors honestly gives a career best performance.
All right. Sounds good. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
We've been gone a long time. We back now. You twins? Nah, we cousins.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true. It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
Listen here, this ain't no house party. Shit. Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
We got us a problem now.
Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers Smoke and Stack return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting for them.
All right. So let's get into some production backstory real quick here. So in January of 2024, an untitled period piece was rumored to be in the works from director Ryan Coogler, and along with Michael B. Jordan to be cast in the lead role. And this production was going through Proximity Media. And it was rumored to take place during the Jim Crow South era and involves the undead. Sean, why don't you explain to the folks who may not understand or know what the Jim Crow era was?
So it's just heartbreaking that there are going to be some listeners out there that don't know what Jim Crow means, but well, look, it's the failure of the American education system. Jim Crow was when a state enacted racial segregation. So that means that black people could not sit in certain sections on transportation, get to the back of the bus. They could not sit in certain sections in restaurants. There were white-only bathrooms. There were white-only water fountains. You know what I mean? I mean, people understand what racial segregation is, but unfortunately, not everyone knows that that's what Jim Crow means.
Okay, yeah, and it's a very integral element in the film overall. So, Sony Pictures, Warner Brothers, Universal, they were all in a bidding war to acquire the rights to this film, which carried a budget roughly about $90 million. So the following month, Warner Brothers won the distribution rights for the film. The film was shot by Autumn Durald Arcapa on 65 millimeter film using a combination of IMAX 15 perf 70 millimeter and Ultra Panavision 70 millimeter films. Thus, pretty much the film alternated between a 1:43:1 and a 2:76:1 aspect ratio. All this was done with the assistance of Christopher Nolan and his wife Emma Thomas. Of course, he did the film Oppenheimer a couple years ago. Principal photography began in New Orleans on April 13th, 2024, with the working title Grilled Cheese, and it wrapped on July 17th. The film was released on April 18th. Now, before we get into the takes on this film, and tell the listeners your experience. You had tickets to the screening of Sinners on opening night. Tell the listeners what happened.
I did. I called up Joe and I said, Joe, and I wasn't rubbing it in your face. I swear, Joe, I wasn't.
Oh, no, of course not.
I told Joe, hey, dude, I just scored a ticket to the Alamo Drafthouse 70 millimeter early screening of Sinners in downtown Brooklyn. And of course, because I was a braggart, fate intervened. And the night of, I actually had to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I missed it. I had to return the ticket. So some lucky person got my seat. So, you're welcome. But Clay McLeod Chapman ended up going with I don't know if both his kids went, but anyway, Clay goes with his children and they go to the screening, and he was like, it was the best thing that ever happened. It'll never be duplicated again. You missed the best experience of your life. They gave away tons of swag, t-shirts and glasses and all sorts of cool stuff. And to say that I was disappointed is an understatement, but ... I did go see it 2 nights later, and I brought my wife, Jennifer, who is not a horror fan, but she trusts me. If I tell Jen this is a good movie, you got to come. 9 times out of 10, she's in the seat next to me in the theater. And we see the movie. We don't say anything. We walk out with the crowd. We get to the parking lot. We get in the car. I turn to her. I go, well, she goes, that was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. So that made up for not checking out this movie and seeing Clay McLeod Chapman, But yeah, having a non-horror person respond to it like that was fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's a testament to how great a film is. But yeah, when you told me that story, I mean, despite the fact that you rubbed those tickets in my face and, we're bragging and, oh, Joe, look what I got. Despite that, I mean, I did feel, I feel really, really bad. Kind of. No.
I wish you are such a stinker. You're making the listener think that I called you up and I was like, hey, dude, guess where you're not going on Wednesday? On Wednesday night.
Well, isn't that what you said? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll tell the listeners what you said. You told me F you. That is what you said to your friend. You're a terrible person, Joseph.
No, but yeah, I could feel you. I mean, I had that happen to me way back in 87, I believe. I had screener tickets at Warner Brothers, to go see a new film that I'd never heard of. And myself and a couple of my buddies, we get in the car and we shoot down to Universal Studios lot to go see this film on the studio lot where the director was going to be and a couple of the stars. We missed the exit, and it's not like a theater, movie theater where you can go in late. No, they shut the doors in these studio screenings and you're out.
Yeah.
The movie, The Lost Boys.
Oh no, buddy. Oof. All right, that hurts a little. That's gonna leave a mark. That definitely leaves a mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So many years later, I still feel that pain. So I feel your pain. I understand.
Well, look, you did a bang up job with the pre-production. Can I just I'm gonna throw a little kudos in? You mentioned Autumn. She's now up there with Dean Kundi, Roger Deakins, Tak Fujimoto. She is such an incredible cinematographer. I was blown away by her compositions, the way she laid out shots, the track, everything, just everything. All her choices were phenomenal, and they all elevate the film, which is already one of the best screenplays. The screenplay is so incredibly tight, so well written. The acting, like I said, it's career best performances out of everybody in the film.
Oh, absolutely.
But then to have the visuals, to be supported by the visuals, and I want to give a shout out to Ludwig Goranson, who's the composer, then to have that luscious, seductive, energetic score accompanying everything and really setting the vibe and the mood along with those visuals, along with that acting, along with the narrative. I mean, it was like this perfect storm of top tier filmmaking that when I left the theater, it made me think this is what it was like when theater goers saw Lawrence of Arabia for the first time on a massive screen, like at the Ziegfeld, or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Searchers, just those iconic movies that you're just lost to the grandeur of them because they're so well made and they're just so immersive. So anyway, I just wanted to give kudos to them. To think that this film, the inception of this film, came about when Ryan Coogler was washing the dishes and he was listening to Wang Dang Doodle. And it's a fun song and it's all about, this raucous party. And he said, I wonder, he's into the song and he's listening to the song and he goes, wonder what it would be like to be in that party. What would that feel like? And then I wonder what would happen if something horrible were introduced, like a vampire, and
Right.
these are how things are born.
Yeah.
And he works on the script, and it all comes together. I mean, look, between the inception of that thought when he's doing the dishes. By the way, shout out to washing dishes, Ryan Coogler. I feel seen now. To seeing this movie in 2025 on the big screen, like those things will never fail to tickle me and impress me and speak to the magic of movie making. I know it's a cliche and, I should be embarrassed saying that, but I'm not. I mean, it really is the magic of movie making.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm jumping to give you my takes. Because you're throwing a lot of great stuff out there that I'm like, either disagree or agree with, and I just want to jump on it. So
Okay.
let me give you my takes. I'm bursting at the seams here.
Can't wait to hear.
Okay. So as much as I really wanted to like this one, I really did want to like it, but I just didn't. I fucking loved it.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I was like, oh man, that's 2 for 2 now. Okay.
Man, you know what? This is not a movie. This is cinema. This is pure cinema with a capital C. It's in the lush, amazing cinematography, the epic cinematography, the soundtrack, the score, the cast. It's just awe-inspiring. This is not a movie you watch. This is a movie you experience. It gets deep into the soul. It engulfs you. Yeah, it's just a beautiful piece of cinema. I tell you, Ryan Coogler was a damn good filmmaker. He was, but now he's a great filmmaker.
Yeah.
I just hope that he doesn't delve, which he probably will. Check, money talks, bullshit walks. That he, keep away from this Marvel shit because he's better than that. He's
already
better.
done it. He's already done it.
Yeah. And, this is his film. This is where he just proved himself. I mean, Spielberg did it with Schindler's List, and where Hollywood turned around and said, whoa, this guy is not just a pop movie, a popular film, popcorn movie maker. He's a cinema filmmaker. And this is Coogler's moment. This is his film. This is the one that's going to define him from this point forward. And I mean, like I said, I love Creed. I thought it was great. That was pure Coogler. That was him. Wakanda Forever, the first Black Panther, was a really good film. It wasn't bad. It was really, really good. But
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I doubt if it was maybe 45-50% him, and the rest was Disney sticking their shit in, into the mix. Well, we got to do this, we got to do that. It wasn't Coogler completely let to do his thing. And this here is his film. This is a very personal film to him. And you feel it, you feel the love, you feel the passion, you feel the soul, and it's just an amazing film. But you know what? We're gushing, because it's just, let's break this down. Okay. Piece by piece, because I mean, we can go on forever and go, this is beautiful, this is amazing, which it is. But let's break it down for the listeners, right?
Yeah, I don't know how interesting it is for the listener if you and I are just like, it was great, it was so great, it was even better than great. This, I do want to point out though that Ryan Coogler is saying that this is really the first film that he has directed. What he means by that is Fruitvale Station was based on a true story. Wakanda Forever, of course, is Black Panther. It's the comic book, and Black Panther, and then Creed is IP. So this was his first original story. So that's why he is saying, look, I really do feel like this is all me. This is my story, and it's my first complete production, which I think is phenomenal. That he learned so much. He honed his skills on those previous 4 films, and it all comes to fruition in Sinners. And boy, does it really just land. So to your point, Joe, we have our story with Smoke and Stack, 2 twins that have left Chicago with a bag full of money to open up a juke joint in Mississippi where they were born. They they were troubled youth, and they were always, they were on the wrong side of the law, pretty much from Jump Street. You've got Smoke, who is more the stoic, and you have Stack, who is more the charismatic one. And as the movie progresses, we're also introduced to their love interests. So for Smoke, it's Annie, who is kind of like a backwoods witch.
Mm-hmm.
For lack of a better word. I mean, and by witch, I mean in the Wiccan nature, not the, green skin. Although, Wicked has now turned that on its head. So that's actually pretty great too. But, what I'm talking about is someone who's very much into the powers of the earth and who can harness mojo, and that plays an important role in the film because it really is like her mojo sack that has kept Smoke safe in Chicago, up to no good, and in World War II. These are both vets from World War II, Smoke and Stack. So then you've got Stack, and his love interest is Mary, who's an interesting character played by Haley Steinfeld because Mary passes for white, and that factors into the film. It's what I love about this movie is you're not beaten over the head with anything. It is mentioned, it is acknowledged, it is incorporated into the story, and then we move on. And then and I could say that, and then we move on, and then we move on, and then we move on. And that's the beauty of the narrative of this film, is that there's constant movement. You're 45, 50 minutes in before Remick the vampire, played by Jack O'Connell, is introduced. You are so lulled and mesmerized by this film in those initial 45 minutes that, Joe, you have stated in the past, you're impatient with film. Get to it, just get to it. If it's a vampire movie, all right. After the initial credits, I better see some fangs.
Right. Exactly. And, and that's what really got me was that, it was the immersiveness of the character building, the world building. You become familiar with all these characters, the environment, the town, and you're living with them, and in this town, you feel them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was not bored, nor was I impatient. I was really enjoying the journey into darkness is what it basically, because remember, that's another thing. It is a journey into darkness. I mean, before we get to the vampires, it's all daylight.
Yeah. And beautiful daylight.
Beautiful. And that's one thing that was so great. I'm glad that Coogler did not go with, okay, we're gonna go with washed out colors, color palette, and so no. He gives us this beautiful, bright colors all throughout the entire film. The reds are reds, the blues are blues. The skyline, the sky as the sun is setting, just gorgeous. I guess you almost kind of lulled into this false sense of security. It's like, oh, this is a beautiful world. This is comfortable. This is nice. This is safe until darkness hits. And
I need to mention a couple of things. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you bring up some really great points. The vividness of this film And I mean, look, it's not our job we don't want to put the boots to really any film, but I couldn't help thinking about Nosferatu. So you had Robert Eggers' Nosferatu came out a couple of months ago. And by
Right.
the way, I mean, the love letters that were crafted for this film, this desaturated, boring
Right.
vampire film that was just, again, that movie didn't land for me. But then
Mhm.
you see a film like Sinners that's so vibrant and alive, and that's what a vampire movie, and I'm going to give Hammer Horror all the credit in the world. It's what a vampire movie should be. It should be those lush colors. I mean, look what I'm going to do here, Joe. The lifeblood of a
Oh,
vampire film is the sanguine color of blood. You need to have those vivid reds.
yeah.
I mean, what I don't understand what a vampire film is if you're not going to lean into something like that. Have there been great black and white vampire films? There have. So just, send your hate mail to Sean O'Connor at I could give a fuck.com. I want to point out a couple of things. One, our movie starts with a cold open of Sammy, who is Smoking Stack's cousin, who's a church boy. His
Mhm.
father's a preacher. Sammy, it's a beautiful opening where Sammy kind of, he's done in the field. His job is to pick cotton. He has his quota. He is done for the day. He goes to like the shotgun shack where the family lives. You get an idea of the squalor that the family is living in. You literally have a room full of children that are sleeping on like corn and potato sacks.
Mhm.
You get a feeling of like how stifling the heat must be in that shotgun shack in Mississippi during the summer, spring or summer. Just that, like, it's an oppressive
Mhm.
environment, socially and culturally for
Mhm.
what Jim Crow is doing to the black
Right.
population in Mississippi. And it is a stifling environment in the poverty that they have
Mhm.
to live with. And but here's what Ryan Coogler is not hitting everybody over. He's not using a wrecking ball, and he's not using a scalpel.
Mhm.
It's more than that. He's being very coy and purposeful and skillful
Mhm.
with how he is crafting the visuals to this story and the narrative. Because this is a horror movie that takes place in a horror movie. All of these characters are already living in a horror movie, being in the Jim Crow South. And then there's the introduction of the supernatural horror.
Mhm.
The layers to this film are what make it so successful and this is a word that's being used a lot when people are describing their experiences, transcendental.
Mhm.
Like I was just transported to another time and place, and I was fully immersed into what was happening with these characters.
Yeah.
So,
And I also love, I mean, is it, the contrast of light and dark, life and death.
yeah.
And you have, again, you have an oppressive cultural situation, the times are very oppressive, but in the darkness of that, but it's everything's so bright and lively, and the music, they're dancing. It's about life, but it's also death.
So
And
can I challenge that a little bit?
yeah, sure.
Joe, you bring up a great point because the first 45 minutes are all in daylight. We really don't get to the nighttime until the juke joints open, which is, by the way, a community effort. Everybody's helping out. You have the Chinese grocers are, running the till. You've got Annie who is doing the cooking. You've got Perline who Sammy falls in love with at the train station, who eventually gets on stage and sings an absolute knockout song with Sammy. You've got all of this, and you're lulled into this false sense of security of this is the best night of our life, which it does turn out to be for damn near every character until you get the introduction of Remick in the nighttime.
Mhm.
But and I hope we're not going too far ahead too quickly. But the scenes of the juke joint fully pumping with people dancing And like if you've ever been lucky enough, and it doesn't matter what the genre of music is, but if you've ever been lucky enough to be in a hot room with live music where there's the promise and or possibility of sex, this is a very sensual film. And sex is depicted in this movie
Oh yeah.
unlike it has been depicted on screen since damn near The Last Tango in Paris. You
But
know?
not in a vulgar way though.
Not even remotely in a vulgar way, in a real way.
In a real way, and being alive.
Yes.
And you know, life itself, and the beauty, and the eroticness of, you know, of being alive.
Here's where I'm gonna challenge you though.
Mhm.
So we have the interior of the juke joint, and that, like you said, it's erotic. The music's pumping. You can feel the beat in your veins, man. Like, you know, when you can feel it in your neck when you're listening to good music, and then like there's a possibility for anything, and you're sweaty, and it's just like this movie is called Sinners.
You're
Like,
right.
you know, if you were going to compare the fire and brimstone that Sammy's father wants him to adhere to, and possibly, you know, the fire and brimstone that a lot of our listeners grew up with. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I'm not religious anymore because the nuns made sure to beat that out of me in the 3rd grade. Way to go, psychotic penguins. But you know, but like that's Sammy's church. You know.
Well, you know what? I think this is a perfect time to segue into spoilers.
Oh shoot! Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry, Joe. Yeah, here I am.
Yeah.
Oh, right at the cusp. Oh, I was gonna. You know what? It wouldn't be an episode unless I really did spoil everything.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and segue into spoilers. So, folks, if you haven't seen this yet, I want to pause this, go watch the film, and then come on back to us and finish this discussion with us. So,
Yeah, please.
yeah. Now, one thing that I found, you know, really interesting, the fire and brimstone and faith and all that stuff, was that Sammy, in the beginning of the film, he goes to his father's a preacher, and so he goes to his church with his guitar, and his father basically starts to preach to him about the evils and the dangers and the sinning
We
nature.
should mention that Sammy is bloodied and bruised, and the guitar is just the broken neck of his guitar.
Oh no,
That's
this
the cold open.
that was the cold open, but then we do have a scene where Sammy does show up right before he goes to the juke joint, and his father's telling him, you know, hey, you know, the blues is the path to evil and damnation and so forth. So right there, Sammy chooses, by clutching his guitar and walking out, he chooses his damnation. And so throughout he goes through the film with the whole vampire stuff going on. At the end, where does he end up? He ends up back at the church with his father with a broken guitar, seeking what? Salvation.
Now, it's interesting. I love the way that you describe that, because my take ultimately, because I'm very pro sin. I should just be very, very upfront about that. Smoking, drinking, wine, women, and song. You only get one life. Don't hurt anybody. Don't be a dick. But get after it. You know, if heaven is filled with Sammy's father, I'm all for hell. You know, but that's a me issue. But what I will say is I took Sammy's, and we are comfortably in spoiler territory. Sammy chooses to leave the church to not seek the salvation that his father wants for him at the end of the film, and he goes on to a long storied career, successful career as a blues musician. That's his salvation.
Exactly. And he finds his own form of salvation. Because like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's the power of music and song. It can drive out the evil in somebody, but also the good. So it's just so music overall is just this universal power that is. It's not here nor there. It just is. And he chooses at the end his own form of salvation. At the end, by going back to his father.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's the interesting thing. So we've talked about the light and the dark, and how the scenes in the light, the first 45, 50 minutes of the movie, are all this build up to the night at the juke joint, and it's exciting. There's nothing better than seeing, you know, hey, look, we're all getting together and we're going to put on a show. I love that. I love that in a film, you know. And you then are introduced to Remick, who Coogler. There are two scenes in this film. There's the scene where Sammy is playing, and we get that we're bringing in music from the future and music from the past, and we're bringing in all these different facets of music. We got b-boys and rap, and we've got a Bootsy Collins, basically Parliament Funkadelic, and we got all of these different facets of what came from the roots of blues music. So that's one scene that has become very much the core of this film. It's funny that some people are saying that's the scene that took me out of the film. And I'll challenge that and say, if that scene took you out of the film, you were never in the film.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, that was one of those scenes. I mean, I sat there in the theater with my jaw just, dropped open. And now in that whole sequence, it transcends though. I mean, that whole sequence, because it transcends race and culture, because you have the Chinese, dancers
Chinese ballet,
coming.
yeah, it's Chinese opera, I'm sorry, yeah. It's
Yeah.
euphoric. It's
Yeah.
euphoric, Joe,
Yeah.
But there's another scene, a small scene, but it's just as well done, which is the introduction of Remick. Jack O'Connell lands into the scene. So it literally, whether he jumps into frame or the impression is that as a vampire, he was flying to the shotgun shack that he ends up at, and then converts those two, one being a Klansman and his wife, into two of his vampire trio. That scene is incredible.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten this beautiful narrative of Smoke and Stack and the loves they left behind, and the reintroduction and the rekindling of these loves, and getting the juke joint off the ground, and you forget that it's a vampire movie completely. I'm saying that definitively. You completely forget that this is a vampire film, and there's a case to be made. If there were no vampire in this film and it just kept going with that story, it would be just as successful and just as interesting and dynamic as what the vampire film turns out to be. But we do have a vampire, and his introduction is so clever, because it's almost like the shark coming out of the water when Brody is chumming, and he snaps up and he goes, "We need a bigger boat." You forget that this is a horror movie. And then I was about to make a mistake and say we have a different film at that point. I'm sorry. That is not what I meant. We have another facet to this film at that point, which is the introduction of the supernatural.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the inspirations for Coogler was for this film, right? It was Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn.
I mean, it follows the framework pretty closely.
It does. And now when you mentioned that, you said it becomes another film, but then you corrected yourself. You said, no, it becomes another facet of the film. That's where Coogler succeeds. And in my opinion, as much as I like From Dusk Till Dawn, that's where Dusk Till Dawn fails, because it becomes a different film. You're watching it and it's a Tarantino film, and then it becomes a Rodriguez film. And again, as much as I love that film, that's one thing that does kind of irk me about the film, is that it becomes two different movies. It's almost like a double feature with the same characters. And Coogler seamlessly ties in together these two types of films. I mean, it's a Jim Crow era film about all these characters in this town and racism and so forth. Then it becomes a vampire film, but it's the same film, and you don't feel that sudden jolt in the other direction. Oh, now it's this. It's seamless, and combined with the fact that you're so immersed in this world and you're so immersed with the characters, you totally buy into it, heart and soul, 100%.
Now, the introduction of Remick and Jack O'Connell.
Oh, man.
Jack O'Connell, if this doesn't ignite his career in a completely new direction, there's no justice in this world. He's phenomenal, as is everyone. He's phenomenal in this movie. But his Remick is an Irish vampire, which I can't tell you how much that thrills me. that he's a maybe centuries old Irish vampire. There are, oh boy, I have to be so careful on how I phrase this, because I certainly don't want to insult anyone or come off as completely ignorant. There are similarities between Black culture and Irish culture
Oh,
in
yeah, absolutely. There is. I mean,
yeah, in
uh,
many ways,
mhm.
music being one of them, but oppression being another. And I'm going to stop here and say, when I mean oppression, I am not equating the Irish experience to slavery in any way, shape, or form.
No.
I'm just saying it's two cultures that have had outside forces try to subjugate them. The
Yeah,
Irish,
yeah. Well, when Remick, he actually mentions how the Christians took his father's land, and given that he's Irish, this would mean that what he was alive, 1,300 years ago, as the island was fully converted to Christianity,
yeah,
around about the 5th or 7th centuries. So yeah, no, and that's purposely put in there because it's like it's a different type of oppressed history. But it is nonetheless something that is identifiable, that he brings that up to the brothers, in saying that, yeah, we too were screwed over,
yeah.
so
There's
join us.
look, there's Ryan Coogler said this himself. He goes, look, it was an Irish vampire because he has an affinity and he's connected to it. He goes, look, my first name is Ryan. My brother's name is Keith. These are Irish names. You
Hmm.
know, it's somewhere in our lineage, in our heritage, there's that Celtic, whatever you want to call it. He's tied to it, you
Hmm.
know? So the making Remick an Irish vampire, I think well, I don't think, I mean, he said it's very purposeful. Now,
Hmm.
but again, here are the layers, because Remick is also a stand-in for the smiling white face that made empty promises,
Hmm.
that stole so much, that culturally appropriated music
Hmm.
and film and segments of Black culture, you name it.
Hmm.
And there's some sort of nefarious deed that's been committed against Black culture by a white person. It's a
Right.
fact. Look, Joe, I'm sorry. I need to talk to my sensitive white people that are listening right now. If you're offended by what I'm saying, do two things: educate yourself, but more importantly, look inside yourself and try and figure out why my words are upsetting you.
Hmm.
If I am calling out atrocious behavior by white people, you need to look deep into yourself and say, why does that bother me? And again, just send your emails to Sean O'Connor. I could fucking care.com.
No, I mean, I totally agree. You couldn't have put it more perfectly and beautifully. Now back to the Irish thing. Now, I really want to talk about, before we get to the cast. Holy shit, what a cast! Before we
What?
get to the cast, the Irish dance number and song. As I'm watching this, you know what scene I'm talking about, when they're outside
Well,
and
that's where I was gonna challenge you before when we were talking about the light and dark, because
yeah,
Joe, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll give my left arm to be there when Sammy's playing that transcendental song and to
yeah.
feel that pulse, and when Pearline is singing and everyone's
Oh,
stomping the floor. I would give my left arm to be in that room. But then we get
oh,
outside, and then Remick has converted everybody almost into his coven of vampires, and
yeah.
they're ripping it. And he's doing Irish step dancing, and he's singing the Rocky Road to Dublin, and everybody looks like they're having the best fucking time of their life. And I might give my left arm to be with
Oh
those
man,
guys.
it was an amazing sequence. Let me tell you, had I read the screenplay, right, or somebody would have told me there's a scene where there's a musical number with Irish vampires dancing and singing, or if I would have read the scene, I would have gone, "This is stupid. This is going to be crap. This is Twilight shit." Right? It was just earth-shattering, amazing. It was just an incredible sequence, and it didn't feel out of place. Yet it was, and just beautifully shot, just an incredible sequence.
By the way, I've made a colossal blunder, Joe, in not calling out the editor, who I don't have their name, and that is, I'm horrible at my job. The editing of this film is so good in conjunction with the music.
Oh
That
yeah,
scene where Pearline is stomping on the floor and she's singing I think it's Pale Pale Moon.
Pale Moon, yeah.
And that the musical The beats to the music are cut with them beating the gambler who is cheating with the loaded dice in the back room. It's cut with what's going on outside. It's cut with what's going on inside. It is masterful filmmaking on an auteur scale, which Ryan Coogler, you could make an argument, was he already in this company? Possibly. Now it's definitive. He has transcended. Boy, we sure are using the hell out of that word tonight. But now, I mean, he is in the company of the Scorseses and the Tarantinos. And
without a doubt.
I mean, I don't enjoy his films much, but Eggers is a fantastic filmmaker.
Yeah.
And, just, you know what I'm talking about. He's in a different level now. I cannot wait to see what he does next.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the editing. I'm a big fan of editing. I love a well-cut film. And there's this method that they call, I don't know if you've heard of this, called Mickey Mousing. Mickey Mousing is basically where if you got a song that goes the thump, and that's the beat of the song, you're going to have the character going physically the same beat as, and so forth. They did it in, what's the name of that, Baby Driver? Where the editing and the music and the action matched the beat. And it matched.
I just caught myself. I just did an orgasm little thing. Oh, these mother effers. God dang it. I hate it when they're right.
And, it can be used kind of cheaply. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. But sometimes it's used masterfully. Just like I mentioned in my review for Chad Archibald's It Feeds, with the jump scare. It's a cheesy, it's a gimmick. But when done right, it's masterful. Which shout out to Chad Archibald on his use of the jump scares. They were really well done there. And in this, the Mickey Mousing of editing and physical movement and so forth was masterful. It was epic. It was beautiful. It really brought everything to life.
And again, this film did not deserve some of the weird takes that the trades gave it upon release. A lot of praise for it, but there were some really, left field, like what?
Yeah.
Opinions. The second week has course corrected that. So we really don't need to get into it. This has become a hit film, but I will circle back to this had instantly become an iconic horror film. 2025 will be known as the year that Sinners was introduced. Whether we get more variations of Marion Stack, I'd be down for it. I would love to see what those two got up to during the 70s. But I tell you what, the film that I really want to see is the Choctaw Indians that try and save that stupid racist couple from Remick. How about this 45 seconds on film and you're like, can we get in the truck and go with them?
Right.
They were incredible.
They were amazing. I chuckled because it was almost like, they're trying to save the white man, right? And the white man is like, fuck you, Indian, right? And it's like, I didn't, and the chocolate, they're like, fuck you, white man, go die. And they take off. They're like, they don't, like, we try to save you. And, but yeah, they look, even the small characters in this film were fascinating and held our attention. And of course, let's talk about the cast. I counted 13 roles in this, and I'm counting Michael B. Jordan twice, because he was distinctive as two very different characters. And just it was uncanny. Kudos to the CGI work. Wow. It was almost, you forget that you think there's two different actors.
Ryan Coogler's taking the piss, and I mean that as a compliment and in the best way possible. After Sammy's cold open, when we get to Smoke and Stack passing a cigarette back and forth to each other, leaning against their car, and it's such beautiful camera trickery and camera technique and technology, and I just smiled. I was like, you son of a, you couldn't help yourself. And I don't blame him for a second. He's coming out of the gate hot, and he's like, I know what I'm doing here, people. And I couldn't love it more. I really
Yeah.
couldn't. But all right, you want to start unpacking some of these actors? Let's do it.
Yes, let's do this. I mean, because we have to. I mean, first of all, goes without saying, the entire cast, amazing. Everybody brought just something incredibly unique, magical, and special to the screen. But to
Joe, it's
me,
Miles Keaton's first role. It's his Sammy. It's his first
yeah,
role.
I couldn't believe it. The guy, when he opened his mouth, started singing. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. What's going on here? This guy, I mean, he looked like what? He was 17 years old, and he has the voice of, you know, oh man, a seasoned blues singer. It was amazing.
Stack's reaction to him singing and hearing it
Yes.
for the first time is one of the most beautiful moments and one of the most joyous and fun moments of the film. His
Oh,
expression, you know?
I think it mirrored the audience's reaction. They didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody expected that. But to me, like the two, of course, Jordan and Wunmi Musako, who played Annie, she was amazing. You immediately just fall in love with her. She's
She's
just
one of
this,
my favorite actors. She brings such gravity to all her roles, but also she has no problem switching into another gear and bringing a sense of playfulness and
yeah,
fun and light and that kind of energy, which she exhibits throughout this film. I mean, she kind of vacillates back and forth between, and she is also she really is our vampire expert and gives and provides the necessary exposition as to, hey, what is that threat outside the door? And what are
sure,
the limitations? And what are our limitations? Which you need, you know?
right.
Not
And I thought
everybody is a horror freak like me.
yeah, and I thought it was also beautiful that introducing with the voodoo and witchcraft part of the culture
But in
um
a but in a positive way. Yeah.
in a positive way. And it's not just thrown in there because okay, we need a witch doctor or whatever. No, it's part of the culture, so it fits. It doesn't feel shoehorned, and it was just I mean, I was just enthralled by that overall. But yeah, she stole my heart. She was fantastic. Just a beautiful soul of an actress.
Yeah, the women in this film bring heat. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
literally and figuratively.
yeah,
Wunmi Masako, Jamie Lawson as Perline, Haley Steinfeld as Mary, Lee Jun Lee as Grace. I mean, they Coogler writes a script that gives each character enough breathing room to settle in, not overstay their welcome.
hmm
Like he uses an economy to their scenes, but they're so well written, but more importantly, they're so well acted
yeah.
that they do so much with a little, but everybody becomes a fully developed character.
Yeah, and as the credits were rolling in the beginning, or who's in it, when I saw Delroy Lindo's name on there, I'm like,
God,
oh yes, this guy. He played Delta Slim. He was amazing. I knew he was going to bring it, and he did. He really did.
Delroy Lindo is one of those actors who, even when he's in bad movies, makes him better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I've seen him in bad films, but he's one of those actors like you go, yeah, the movie sucked, but he was amazing. And when he's, the great scene when he sacrifices himself to save the others from the vampires was just yeah, it was
Joe, I need to mention something because when you said sacrifice himself and he opens up his veins, I need to point something out.
uh-huh.
And I did a little research. I haven't found anything yet, but I know I will. Okay. So in the scenes where there's bloodletting, particularly when Grace invites the vampires in and we have that melee where people are getting staked and people are getting bit right and left, the blood that's spilled is a particular color and a particular viscosity. I know I'm getting in the weeds here and I'm nerding out. It is very much from the film Blackula.
You know what? Wow. Yeah.
It is. I've seen enough horror movies and I've seen enough blood in horror movies to know. Oh, okay. That's kind of like in the spaghetti western vein because it's pretty orange. Oh, this one here is like deep red. This one here is kind of like Hammer horror, vivid, real bold, like lipstick red. They're because I've been watching so many vampire films for this episode and have been. I'm telling you right now, Coogler has put an Easter egg in there. It is Scream Blackula Scream and Blackula Blood
Yeah.
in those scenes. And god damn it, I will find him somewhere saying that it's a shout out and an Easter egg. But when I saw it, I was just like, oh, you son of a bitch. That is absolutely Blackula right there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that was no mistake.
Shout out to William Marshall, one of the best vampires ever put on film.
Yeah, who I met in person when I was like 21.
Son of a bitch. Always got to one up me. You're swimming in the pool with the guy who wrote Cat People. You know, you're missing screenings to Lost Boys, but you were invited.
And then I mentioned I had a nice little chat one time with Wesley Snipes, but that was a long time ago. Never mind.
Are we going to change the name of this podcast from Fear on Film to Mr. Big Time? Because that's what it's feeling like. It's feeling like Mr. Big Time.
Oh man, but no, but yeah, I mean, to just kind of wrap it up. I mean, as far as the cast, I mean, I don't think there was one wasted piece of talent in this film. I mean, Coogler really uses this. He knows he has an amazing cast, and he uses them to the max, and he brings out the best in each and every one of them. And it's just a sight to behold.
It's a testament to following your own vision. I get it that he directed IP. I get it that he's done stuff for Marvel and all that, but he had this idea. He saw it through. It worked on every level. But Joe, let's put it out there. We'll put our money where our mouth is. Our email address is fearonfilm@gmail.com. You see the film. If you have a different opinion, of course we'll hear you out. We would love if you have a different take, or you love the film, but you would love to add more to something that we haven't discussed. We'd love to hear that as well. Yeah. See the film is the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it all night, but there's so much to unravel on this film, so much to express, so much to be seen, and
you and I are just banging the same gong of we love it, we love it, we love it. I think
right.
it's interesting points, but now it's just become a love letter,
Yeah, and a deservedly, so. So with that being said, well, what do you say we give our ratings on this? Now, I forgot to tell you, I wanted to, I tweaked the fright meter a bit. Okay. So, it was scale of 1 to 5 screams, correct?
Correct.
So I felt that that's too much of a small margin to rate a film because there's nuances and you go, well, there's a point to, so I figured it's fright meter of 1 to 10 screams would be more adequate.
Sure.
Okay.
You got it, bud. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, we got more wiggle room, to work with there. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. So with that being said, Sean, let's get your rating and the overall take.
Yeah, 10 screams, easy. Okay, done.
I mean, yeah, what's there to be said that we haven't said already? I mean, this is just an amazing piece of cinema. So for me, I'm on the fright meter, I'm going to give this 10 out of 10 screams as well. This is pure cinema. This is what we go to the movies for. I mean, this past Friday, I went to go see The Accountant 2 with Ben Affleck. I walked into the theater and it was packed. I came out of the theater and there was double the amount of people there. There was people shuffling to the concession stands, to the theater, coming out of the movies, going into the movies. And you know what? It was a glorious sight to see. It was such a beautiful thing. And I hadn't seen that kind of turnout since before the pandemic and before the whole Marvel onslaught. It was glorious. And this is all attributed to the fact that we're getting some great films out there, both horror and non-horror, all kinds of good offerings out there. And it was just amazing. It was beautiful.
Here's why going to the movies, as much as people can moan and groan about it because it's expensive as hell, and it is. I completely support that opinion. But you damn near never see anyone with a puss on their face at the movies.
Right.
It happens to be one of the few places you go to where people are just enjoying themselves for however long it lasts, 2-hour movie, whatever. but they're having a great time.
Hmm.
You know, it's always been special to me for that reason alone. The excitement, the vibe of it. Like you said, people are going to the concession stands, they're getting their junk, their delicious
Hmm.
garbage, you know, and they're gonna lose themselves hopefully in for 2, 3 hours and just have a ball. All that stuff that, you know, that is heavy life is waiting for you outside the door, but you get to unpack it. You get to leave it out there for a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, movies are just rad as hell. I love them.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, so now I want to get into some films that I saw this past month that I want to share with you,
Sure.
and some recommendations, maybe. Of course, I saw The Loved Ones, and I saw that about what 3 weeks ago, and I'm barely getting over it.
Sorry.
Damn good film though. Sean Byrne is demented, and I love it. I finally got to see The Rule of Jenny Penn, James Ashcroft film, and I hate to say it, I didn't. I can't gush over it. I mean, I liked it. I thought John Lithgow and
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush, both amazing. They put in amazing performances. It was, they put their all into it. But it was okay. I mean, I thought it was kind of spooky, the doll thingy, but yeah, I had a good time with that. It was fun. I know it's one of your favorite films, and I can see why. I mean, it's got some really good stuff in it.
It just, you know what it was? It just scratches an itch for me, a little bit of De Palma. And I
Yeah.
just love those two actors. And I'm a fan of James Ashcroft.
Hmm.
I really like the way he directs and I like his work. But again, look, man, you know, they put it up on the screen and then you got to let it go.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their
Hmm.
opinion.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what else have you seen?
Caveat, Damien McCarthy's film. Wow, that was a weird one, and I loved it. The
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
freaking bunny rabbit. Jesus. And a little neat device in there where it's like you point him in a certain direction, he starts to do its thing. What is it? Play its drums or something?
And Joe, I
Um,
don't know if you realize, but that bunny shows up in Oddity as well.
does it? I didn't
Yup.
catch that. Ooh.
It's in
Yeah.
it's in the sister shop. It's in her little curio shop.
Oh, okay. You know what? I gotta watch that one again for the third time because I loved it. So yeah, Caveat was a strange little film, but I really loved it. Really good, great pacing. I also got to see Longlegs finally. Osgood
Oh, you
Perkins.
hadn't seen it? Interesting.
No,
Okay.
no. And you know what? I loved it. I thought it was weird. I love, it I know there was a lot of comparisons between that and Silence of the Lambs. So it's kind of like that. It is, but it isn't because it takes a strange paranormal turn that I did not expect. To me, Longlegs is a far better film than The Monkey. Damn good film. Really, really good.
I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah, and I also got to see Parvulos, Children of the Apocalypse from Isaac Esban. Holy crap, that! And I love zombie films. This was not your typical zombie film.
no.
Um, first and foremost, it's a film about the bond between siblings, survival, taking care of each other, love, and the need and the yearning for the family unit and to be together and to share special moments. It's an incredible film, really, really beautiful. Yeah, definitely. It's a zombie film, and it's first it's a drama, and then it's a zombie film, and it's incredible. It's a damn good film.
I interviewed Isaac from Macabre Daily, and just like Chad Archibald, sweetest, nicest,
Mm.
funniest. What a absolute gem. Isaac, I feel, is going to have a career similar to Guillermo del Toro.
Mhm.
Kind of playing the same sandbox where they get incredible performances out of young actors. I mean, Parvulis just pulls out all the stops.
Yeah,
Really, really great film.
yeah, and it's heartbreaking. It really, really is. Um,
And for people out there that like zombie films, but maybe a little jaded by them, this is a different take, and you should check it out.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So next on my list, I saw a documentary called Art Attack: The Dissection of Terrifier 3.
Oh, I wonder if that's on Screenbox.
It
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Check it out. It's, if anything, it brings across the love for the horror genre, for practical effects, the raw, no pun intended, passion for, you know, scaring the shit out of people and having fun. And it's a hell of a documentary. And David Howard Thornton, I think his name is, who plays Art, just a sweetheart of a man. I mean, he's just
Seems
such a
like the nicest guy in the world.
yeah. I mean, he's out of character and out of makeup, and he's talking about the character, and you go, "Oh, come on, that cannot be Art the Clown." I mean, this guy's a nice guy. So it's a really fun behind the curtains look at the Terrifier films.
This
And
might sound weird. I don't like those films at all, but
mhm.
I love that they have been made.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And breaking that boundary of the chokehold that the MPAA has on the creative freedoms of
Yeah.
filmmakers.
Yeah.
And which is really, really great. And finally, of course, I mentioned earlier, It Feeds from Chad Archibald. And that movie seriously blew me away. Loved the film. Thought it was going to be just your run of the mill paranormal kind of film and kind of get to the point. And but it, the ending where it just goes full blown horror. When she goes, I don't want to spoil it because people need to see Chad's
Yeah, don't
film.
spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah, it's a damn good film. So yeah, it's been some good viewing and some good stuff out there that I've been checking out.
There's more to come, dude. I mean, there's so many good films on the horizon. I am not going to talk about what I've been watching only because it has been almost completely vampire films,
Mhm.
which leads us into our final segment, our top 5 vampire films.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, so what are your top 5?
Okay. Now, Joe, you know I'm cheating here. I mean, it's really, really cheating, but it's purposeful. Okay. So are we going to go back and forth? Like I'll do my 5th and you'll do your 5th, or you just want me to do my whole?
Do your whole list. Do your
Okay.
whole list. And I
So-
and when I brought this to you, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be easy for Sean because you've consumed like a lot of vampire films.
All right, dude, you're going to see how impossible this was for me right now. So number 5 is 1985's Fright Night. However, if you are going to watch Fright Night, you should also check out 1985's Life Force, 1983's The Hunger, and 1987's The Lost Boys.
Okay.
Number 4 is Near Dark.
Oh,
Yep, Near Dark. I mean, one of Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen's one of their best roles. Jeanette Goldstein's fantastic in it as well. Yeah, I mean, I just love Near Dark, as do so many people. Anyway, enough said about that. Number 3 is Vampire Circus. I had to pick a Hammer horror, but if you're going to watch Vampire Circus from 1972, and you definitely should, also check out Twins of Evil from 71, Brides of Dracula from 1960, and Horror of Dracula from 58. Also, you have to watch an Ingrid Pitt vampire movie, which should always be The Vampire Lovers from 1970. Number 2 is Let the Right One In. And if you're going to dine out from 2008, if you're going to dine out on an international vampire movie, you should absolutely also watch Park Chan-wook's Thirst and Guillermo del Toro's Kronos from 1993. The number 1 vampire film for me. And look, I didn't include Sinners on this list.
right.
Sinners would absolutely be on this list now, but this was pre-Sinners. Number 1 for me is always going to be Salem's Lot, the TV miniseries. This isn't a cheat, though, because it was released as a feature film in Europe.
Yeah, it was.
All right, buckle up for this one, Joe. If
Okay.
you're going to watch Salem's Lot, and you should, from 1979, you must also watch Darren McGavin in the Night Stalker movie. You should watch every single episode of the Night Stalker the Night Stalker TV series, but you have to watch the movie from 72. Then you got to watch Blackula from 72 and Scream Blackula Scream from 73. This is not a vampire movie, but if you're going to start dabbling into blaxploitation horror, you also have to watch Sugar Hill. But then going back to vampires, you got to check out Count Yorga from 1970, then The Return of Count Yorga from 1971, Grave of the Vampire from 1972, written by David Chase of Sopranos fame, Ganja and Hess from 1973, Martin from 1977, and Frank Langella with disco hair in Dracula from 1979.
Okay, wow, now that was a list.
You asked me for 5, I gave you 30.
And some damn good ones. I remember the Langella one from 79. That was pretty epic.
Incredibly great film with weird disco sex scene in the middle of it, and I love every frame of it.
Right. All right. Well, my list is going to be significantly shorter than that. That was pretty intense. So so for me, my number 5 is John Carpenter's Vampires.
Interesting.
Yeah, with James Woods.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. It was good old-fashioned B flick, popcorn kind of fun. Amazing. Just a lot of it's definitely one of my favorites. So that's my number 5.
Watch along with Near Dark, because those are 2 vampire westerns.
Yes, absolutely. Which brings me to number 4, Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow.
Nice.
Damn good film. Made on a shoestring budget. Beautifully directed. Great cinematography. Amazing cast. Bill Paxton. That's all I gotta say. Just amazing. Near Dark is a must.
But Bill Paxton has a line in the movie, and it never gets mentioned. When he turns around to the little girl who comes into their like little motel complex, and she goes, "Y'all sure do stay up late." And he turns around to her and he goes, "We keep odd hours." It is the line of the movie.
Oh man, Paxton has lines in that film. Oh, I mean, he was the king of really great one-liners. He was amazing.
He's one of my favorite actors of all time. I miss that son of a bitch every day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now my number 3 is another one. Is one that was on your list, Fright Night, and I'm not talking about the dog shit remake that came out a few years ago. The original, and I think who directed that? Tom Holland.
Yeah.
An amazing film. Roddy McDowell. Chris Sarandon.
Vampire named Jerry Dandridge. It should be on everyone's list for that alone.
Right? It's like, what's your name? Jerry?
Jerry Dandridge.
Jerry Dandridge. So yeah, love that movie. The movie's iconic. It's got one of the best reverse transitions, from vampire or wolf to human that I'd ever seen. And if you look at the background or the behind the scenes on how they did that, it'll blow your mind. It's just
practical in that. I mean, we were just in that sweet spot of amazing practical.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 2 is Interview with a Vampire.
All right, respect.
Yeah, it definitely had that 90s gothic feel to it. The traditional feel of vampire films. It was a sexy film. Just an amazing film overall, and an amazing cast, great cast. So that's my number 2. My number 1 vampire film of all time, Twilight. No, I'm kidding.
I was just gonna say, I support you, buddy, but you're wrong.
No, that's not even in the same atmosphere, in the same solar system. My number 1 favorite vampire film of all time is The Lost Boys.
Nice.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart that you guys missed the friggin' exit.
Oh man, I still have nightmares over that. Again, the music, the cinematography, the whole feel of the 80s. It's a dated film, but it's not cringe factor or cheesy. If anything, it really brings out the nostalgia factor in a positive way. So the damn good film. So yeah, there's my list. And so my honorable mention, I don't know if you'll agree with this one, but I know it's kind of a pretentious take on the whole vampire thing and overproduction value and so forth. Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, buddy, if you were looking for an argument, you came to the wrong place. I love that film. I can't believe I didn't put it on my list. What the hell is wrong with me?
What I loved about that film was, I mean, first of all, it's beautiful production. And now, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, and who doesn't, he was kind of the weak part of the film. I mean, he wasn't that great in it, but everything else in the film, fantastic. And I love the way they integrated the inspiration into the storyline, because Bram Stoker's one of his main inspirations was Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
So he takes that and he fuses it together with the whole Dracula story. And I thought it was really clever, and it was beautifully done, beautifully shot, great practical effects, beautiful cinematography. And I mean, not such a great cast aside from I think Anthony Hopkins was in it, right? And
my God, Dracula, the actor. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. I mean, he's one of the best Draculas ever.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
You could here's all I'll say about Coppola's Dracula. You can watch it with the sound off and be just as entertained.
Yeah.
The production design in that film is so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Coppola is freebasing Hammer horror,
Mm-hmm.
but through his own aesthetic, and it's just incredible. It's just incredible. Love that film. Cannot believe I didn't put it on my list. I'm inspired myself.
Yeah. So, and I got to see that at the Grumman's Chinese when it first came out.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, Mr. Big. All right. Okay, Big fan. Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It was gorgeous to see there. So yeah, there's our top fives and some damn good ones. So Sean, what's my homework for the 70s Freaktacular?
All right, everybody. I would love for you all to watch along. It's going to be a little tricky for this one, though, because the homework for Joe is Roller Coaster, starring George Segal. It is not available anywhere. So sorry about that, listeners. I bought the Blu-ray. It is a weird kind of disaster thriller about a serial bomber that blows up the tracks on roller coasters. And I'm fairly certain that this movie came about when some executive was like, you know what's really popular? Six Flags. We should get someone to write a movie where someone's doing something in a Six Flags. And then Roller Coaster was born. And I can't love this movie enough. And the cool thing about Roller Coaster is that if you mention it to enough people, most of them will look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was a fever dream when you had the flu. No one ever made that movie. But then you'll find people like Mark Gottlieb that turn to you and go, Roller Coaster is the best movie ever made. Well, Mark never said that, but you'll find hidden pockets of secret roller coaster fans, and that has become my life's mission. So I'm hoping by talking about it, we're going to expand that weird group of people.
Okay. All right. Well, assignment accepted. I will track that one down and see what I did there? I'll track that one down.
Oh, you're so good. I mean, I give you credit for being on top of your game, but you just took it to the next level, my friend.
All right. So let's with that moment of brilliance that I just had, let's go ahead and preview next month's episode. What are we going to be covering, Sean?
I gotta be honest, Joe. I have no idea. I don't have it open.
Okay.
I don't have it open.
Okay.
Wait, tell me, and we'll redo it.
Okay. We're going to be covering Until Dawn from David F. Sandberg, and it's based on a 2015 video game by the same title. So that's going to be a good one. I've been looking forward to seeing this one. I know it just came out at the time of recording. It came out this past weekend, so probably this coming week I'm going to definitely check it out.
I'm checking it out this weekend as well. Really excited for it. You know, I've never played the game, so I'm going in fresh. No spoilers for me. And I saw the trailer, and you know how I feel about trailers, but I got to break my own rule here. That trailer got me. I was like, I'm seeing the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what do you say we start winding this down?
You got it, buddy.
Alrighty, so folks, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our show.
Please help to support the podcast by giving us 5-star ratings and leave a good review. Or another way to support us is to subscribe and follow us on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your podcast fix.
And you can catch me on the Filmjoe Podcast also, with new episodes that drop every Wednesday on the same platforms.
And you can find me at macabredaily.com, where I am writing my Paper Cuts column and reviewing tons of film and interviewing incredibly talented people.
Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, on our YouTube channel, where we have all of our regular episodes. They drop there as well. All this stuff, they can be found in the LinkTree in the show notes below. So make sure you click on those.
We loved talking your ear off today, and we cannot wait to have you back next month.
All right. So with that being said, I'm Joe.
And I'm Sean.
And this has been Fear on Film,
where horror lives.